I heard Misfortune's up there.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, he's got a good bullet time on him. I played a game with him the other day. He was popping off all over Summoner's Rift. So we'll see whether he does pick that one up. He likes the Jhin skin as well, which I would love to see him running around in at the OPL final.
Well, they were saying on the desk that Direwolves are the favorites coming into this one against XL5, who have newly promoted from the OCS and kind of struggled in their first week against Tainted Minds. There was a standout performance from Guts on his Rengar, but they kind of crumbled in that first match and got decimated in the second game.
Yeah, and I just like what T-Gun's saying. They're going back, they're reviewing their gameplay really hard, and then they're trying to apply it to the next match. So kind of that step further of what we'd heard out of the Direwolves. I mean, Direwolves very concentrated inwards. XL5 do know that they have to target areas of their opponents. Sounds like today that they might go towards the Fantix lane, so see whether T-Gun's on a Moby Boots support, trying to get in there and help it out. But I really do like the fact that T-Gun's taking this role of, you know, building up a young squad very seriously. I mean, he's got 5-8, Guts, Swimman, all from the OCS. I mean, Guts dominantly from solo queue as well as Crazy. So he's got his work cut out for him, but it looks like he's attacking the task quite well.
We'll have to see how XL5 do in this match. Direwolves also coming off of a loss last week against the Chiefs, but that was a very close match, which could have gone in the Direwolves' favor. Very close to picking up the 2-1 or even a 2-0 victory against the Chiefs last week. Let's see if they can bounce back in their first game against XL5. But the picks of bans have already gone through. First bans that are coming out from these two teams, Ryze, Fiora, as well as Zyra being banned out by XL5. Direwolves have taken away Camille, Rengar, as well as LeBlanc.
Yeah, and they're just the OP champions that are banned on the red side one more time. No team's really willing to let all three go through. And I like the fact that they targeted Chippy slightly with a Fiora ban. However, still looks like he's going to be on a carry.
Yeah, we saw Juves mention on the desk earlier that Chippy's will be picking up a carry. He has locked in Jace that can still be flexed into the mid lane. That should be a top lane pick for now. On the flip side, XL5, they've locked in Kha'Zix for Guts heading into the jungle.
Yeah, the Zix, I mean, he's going to be happy picking that one up. We said that he does like to play more of a carry role. This Sweeman's going to be forced towards more of a control mage like an Orianna as well. Always good to have a ball delivery system. So this is something that, you know, X5 definitely will be prepared for. They've played with lots of carries from what I've seen, and from the jungle position, and I think it fits their playstyle.
Direwolves going to be able to lock in Malzahar as their support of choice. No supports have been banned out by either team, so could expect to see if XL5 decide to pick up a counter early.
Yeah, something like a Lulu, maybe something like a Misfortune. I mean, shuts it down quite heavily in lane, able to chip away the shield, keep you nice and safe. T-Gun wanted to play Mels. Pretty safe to say that one. I mean, it's very strong in the current meta. See the look of dejection now on his face. As it looks like 5-8 is going to be playing a Poppy.
Yep, Poppy taken up into the top lane. We saw yesterday actually a lot of support jungle and AD carry picks in the first few rotations. Now we can see a lot of different ideas coming in between XL5 and Direwolves. Direwolves looking to grab their top lane to support first up. XL5 locked in a very strong jungler. They're going to take up Poppy as well, and it seems like Sealman's going to be picking up his Ahri very early on into this.
And I like this so far because, I mean, unless Sybil plays the tank, this is going to be a very squishy lineup on the Direwolves because you expect Jace in the top lane as well as that Malzahar down there in the bottom lane. So if the Ahri is able to take over, get some picks, and then the fact that you got a super take for 5-8, that is a really strong call that should be able to, you know, transition well into a pick composition and continue to snowball the game.
And it seems like Sybil is not going to be picking up one of those tanks heading into the jungle. Instead, he's picking up Elise to go up against Guts. Kha'Zix, Juice was very vocal about how Elise does well into Kha'Zix in the jungle and can potentially counter him out.
The thing about Elise into Kha'Zix is you have to beat him to the spot, right? So you have to farm up really quickly at the start of the game, then beat him to the brush and be able to, you know, guarantee the face check. You know, Mendrix is correct in the fact that if Guts ever gets there first, he's just going to be able to blow up the Elise, and the repel doesn't really become a factor because of the leap. So I like it for the Elise. I honestly do agree with Juves that it's not a horrible matchup. However, you still need to be careful when you're playing against all that raw AD.
And we saw that exact scenario take place yesterday. Seb taking on Carbon in their match. Seb was able to get first blood against Carbon's Elise as he had the rush control as Kha'Zix. As we are going through the second ban rotations here. Misfortune and Tahm Kench are going to be banned out by the Direwolves. They don't want the Voidling counter, as well as the very safe support here for Tegan. Meanwhile, we have Ziggs actually being banned out by Direwolves. The Don't want King to be picking up that champion in the bottom lane and waiting for their final ban here, which is going to be Ashe.
Yeah, so taking away some AD carry options away from King, want to force him onto, you know, a little bit more utility. I was going to say it doesn't really make sense to ban Ashe if Jhin as well as Varus are still available, because they all pretty much do exactly the same thing. So I like the Ziggs takeaway. It does mean that they don't take turrets as quickly. I mean, Jace and Ziggs are two of the strongest turret takers in the game. However, the Ashe is a tad strange to me.
I'm very surprised because Tegan called this out in his interview. He said Chippy's going to be on a tank up in the top lane. King's probably going to be playing something like Varus, and that's... Sorry, Chippy's going to be playing a carry up in the top lane. King's probably going to be on something like Varus, and that's exactly what they picked up here.
I mean, these guys play each other a lot, so it's no real surprise that they know what they're going to be playing. The Morgana would make a lot of sense. It's a pocket pick for T-Gun. Rosie also likes playing it. And it also gives a black shield late game to your assassin, which cannot be stressed how valuable it is. I mean, if you dive into an Amalzahar, the last thing you want is him to just turn around, ulti you, and you get blown up. The black shield really going to help that one out.
Gonna have to see what the final pick for the Direwolves is going to be. Still missing their mid laner, or potentially a top lane pick if they decide to flex Jace into that mid lane.
Yeah, there's no way Jace is being taken into Ahri. That would be absolutely crazy talk, I think. Instead, ooh, well, maybe.
Potentially so.
That's actually really dangerous out of Fantix. Historically, Jace has struggled against Assassins, and you don't really like taking him into the matchup. I mean, he's going to have to build a Hex Drink at first item right now, delay power spike quite a little bit. I don't like the fact that they've flexed that one. I know that Poppies can do okay into Jace, but when the matchup's played correctly, you should still grow like a 30 to 35 CS advantage and be able to push down turrets quite quickly. So I think a little bit of unnecessarily flexing, and this is something that Direwolves have historically been known for. They flex champions in weird and wacky ways.
Well, they do have Kennen heading into the top lane. It should be an attack speed on hit damage Kennen.
But all of a sudden, they just shoehorn themselves into a very limited magic damage comp. And that just means that if it is an attack speed cannon, the Poppy goes pure armor. And unless you're willing to burn, I don't know, Malzahar ults and things like that onto it, it's not going to be able to be touched. And then we've already talked about the Black Shield. You know, the Assassins are going to be flying in with that. I think it really narrows the scope of how they're going to be able to win these games without going into a deep 1-3-1.
Well, as you look at the side of XL5, it seems like they've gotten the exact components of the team comp that XL5 really want going into this game.
I mean, they've got a front-to-back comp with the Assassin that they like to play. So, I mean, that's perfect. I mean, if they ever do get priority on the map, able to set up that vision control, they're going to be completely comfortable just playing pick. And because they have a Poppy, they can rotate into objectives nice and early. So I agree with you. They're comfortable. You open up with a Jhin ult, you blow someone up with Ahri. It can't get much simpler as far as playing a team composition.
And it almost feels like that's exactly what XL5 need going into this match. You know, Direwolves are a tough opponent. You know, they just came back off of a loss from Tainted Minds 2. You pick up your combo picks, play the way you want to, and kind of play your game, essentially.
But I still just disagree with the Direwolves comp, just because you narrow the windows in which you can play around. I mean, 1-3-1's great, but if you're not able to set it up, and remember, Direwolves are looking for their first win on land since, I think, 2014. They haven't been able to pick one up. You know, they've run into the Chiefs a lot. They've run into Legacy a fair bit, but this has been a rough stretch for them.
Well, for now, as we get onto some of this riff, let's check in with Hingers, who's standing by with one of the coaches.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Tonasu, and I want to start by asking you about the ADC, or the AD Ziggs ban. Was that something you were afraid of coming up against?
I wouldn't say it's something we're afraid of. We just really respect King's ability to play that champion. We know he's been putting a lot of practice into it, so we really respect his ability to play it.
And also in mid lane, you're going to be seeing Jace going into Ahri. Are you guys feeling confident about that, or?
We figured that if we picked Ahri, they might play the Jace as a flex, because we know that their mid and top can play it very, very well. We're pretty confident, but it's a very tough matchup for the Ahri. It depends who snowballs first.
I know that T-Gun was keen to play Malzahar today. Didn't quite work out because he's on Morgana, but that's a pocket pick for him, so he's feeling pretty comfortable, do you think?
He has a very, very wide pool of champions. One of the biggest things about T-Gun is he can basically play anything. Yeah. He really likes the Malzahar, but he also likes the Morgana because of the pressure it gives him in lane with jungle ganks.
Excellent stuff. Well, best of luck in the match, and thank you so much for speaking to us.
Nice.
Well, there you go, hearing from the coach of XL5 there, and while that was taking place, we saw a little bit of cheese coming out from the Direwolves. Here's something you usually see in solo queue, the Voidlings into exhaust coming out from Malzahar very early on to force a flash out of Crazy in the bottom lane.
Yeah, exactly right. So, you know, able to just exhaust up straight away, get double Voidling procs out when you have brush control and take over in that regard. It will guarantee them an earlier level 2 and some pushing power here. See also the zone coming out in the mid lane. I like the fact that, you know, they talk about it depends who snowballs first in the Jace versus Ari matchup. The only thing I disagree with in that regard is that's a heavy laning phase focus. I mean, at the end of the day, if Ari ever catches Jace out around the map, he's just going to die. Has to run exhaust into it and things like that. So it means that you 1-3-1 a little less potent, but it's obviously something that the Direwolves are comfortable with.
Yeah, Sealman was very potent on this Ari last weekend. We'll have to see how he does in this match. We are checking in with the bottom lane for now. Destiny and King going up against Crazy and Tegan. King actually opting to start with the longsword and 3 biscuits here instead of the traditional Doran's blade route.
Yeah, it's just something that we've seen a little bit more. Gives you some more sustain in lane. Means that you can continue to push up. And, you know, I'm not really against the longsword pickup. I think that it certainly has a place.
As hello, that just happened.
Yeah, so Chippy's able to pick up the first blood against 5-8. And ooh, Swimmer's in trouble as well.
More action in the mid lane here as Guts actually was looking for a gank. Fantix forced to use both his flash and exhaust, but it seems like Sumo was the one that almost got taken down in that mid lane.
Yeah, and I mean, that just looks like a little bit of an overextension out of the mid laner from XL5, looking to get the lane pushed up now and get a recall in, but Fantix doesn't want any of it. He's going to be able to guarantee a freeze. Should be able to get a nice shot himself as we have a look in top lane what happened. I mean, this is just going to be him auto-attacking him to death. Yep. All right, very nicely done. So Chippies, obviously no stranger to the cannon.
Yeah, comboing that one very perfectly up in the top lane, giving no room for 5-8 to flash away from that one. He's forced to use his teleport to get back into the top lane, only picking up a cloth armor to go with his corrupting potions. Already burning one before Chippies even gets back to lane. He's gone back, picks up a cull and an extra Doran's blade with a refillable potion to get back into the laning phase.
And this is what we're expecting to see out of Kennen. I mean, the cull is just great because it guarantees some extra lifesteal and some gold generation on what is a very heavy farming champion at this stage of the game. Do want to stress though, as soon as 5-8 gets towards Ninja Tabby, the lane should just be pretty much a wash. Can't really kill Ninja Tabby Poppy unless something goes seriously wrong. And, you know, it's an early 700 gold lead for Direwolves, but this is a stage of the game that they've picked for and the stage of the game that we expect them to dominate.
Let's see if they're going to be able to keep up that domination as Chippy's still getting the harass down onto 5-8, who's trying to use the brush to his advantage. That wave's going to push back in towards the cannon.
He needs to make sure that hits the turret, otherwise he's just a sitting duck right now. He has flash available. Oh, T-Gun, you're in trouble.
He's going to take a lot of damage. Black Shield not going to do too much. The Voidlings are going in. Heal's going to come out from Crazy. T-Gun actually has to flash away from the Voidlings and bind one up as well, as Direwolves continue to assert their dominance in this bottom lane.
Yeah, so uses both summoner spells to get away from that. I mean, look how many potions he still has. It's just the burst damage that comes out at this stage of the game. I actually thought he was going to die there. One more tick out of a Voidling probably would have taken him down, but was able to save his life. And they're farming actually quite well down here. So, I mean, that's not a big deal unless T-Gun continues to get poked out by random Qs from the Varus.
Crazy still doing just fine though, although blowing his flash and heal very early on into this match. Does have his potion available with that longsword. Sorry, with that Doran's blade. Should be okay, but King and Destiny just constantly pushing up this wave, making sure that they have to farm under this turret and trying to poke out T-Gun, it seems, every chance they get.
Yeah, it certainly looks to be that case. You see more focus towards the mid lane out of XL5 now. Fantix trying to push this lane back. Suman just wants to guarantee that it's hitting turret and that he's kind of freezing the Jace there, maybe looking for a counter gank Guts.
He's fallen behind in CS quite a bit in the mid lane, Steelman. 30 CS to 44.
I mean, he got frozen on. That guarantee cost you a wave. Like, so that's 6 CS, and the fact that he's down another 10 is, you know, a little bit painful, but you can understand exactly where that happened. Everywhere else seems to be all right at the moment, however.
Still down in this bottom lane, though, where there's a lot of poke coming out from King and Destiny.
I mean, they're not really down. I mean, 3 CSs. For how bad this lane has been so far,
yep,
I would take a 3 CS deficit.
Still farming up nicely. King just popping a couple of potions every time he gets harassed here by Crazy and Tegan. Sibyl's on the top side of the map here. Chippies has hit level 6. 5-8 still has his flash available.
You still don't dive a Poppy. I mean, I don't care what level you are, diving Poppy is just, especially without your own tank, is just a very dangerous prospect. You can see Chippy's doing the right thing, poking him down underneath turret. He's going to have to guarantee another recall. But diving Poppy, just because of the, you know, all that added bonus MR and armor she gets as her health gets lower through the W, it's still just one of those things that incredibly hard to do. Don't actually agree with 5-8 shop here. He's gone with a Balmy Cinder. Really do think he needs those boots to stop the auto attacks coming through. However, he's a pro player. I am the commentator. We'll see how it works out.
Chippy's going to get some free time to get some damage onto this top lane outer turret. Gets it down to just above half health there. We'll be able to casually push out this lane while 528 is forced to walk back to his lane itself. He has his teleport back up and available, so Chippy's wasn't able to use the teleport disadvantage. Still holds on to his quite nicely.
Yeah, and Guts has fallen a little bit low again as now CBLOL caught up.
Taking a lot of damage, forced to repel, but can only come down one way, or can he? Because the Ignite was ticking and the Spider will fall.
And we just keep talking about it. I mean, with the Assassins, it's whoever gets to the brush first, and you need to be able to call that. I mean, all of a sudden, that 20 CS advantage that's been built up for Fanatics disappears because Sweeman's straight back into that lane.
Able to 100 to nothing that squishy Spider, something you talked about in Champion Select. Seaman's going to be able to blow up almost anyone on Summoner's Rift here. You can see even Chippy's, he's going for a lot of damage here, picking up the Berserker Greaves nice and early on this cannon.
But this is just why the Ninja Tabby is so much, like, it's just cost effective because it's about getting repetitive auto attack. Don't line up, boys. It's about getting repetitive auto attacks into the top lane. And, you know, if you take that mastery, as well as the fact that you pick up the early tabbies, it just nullifies so much of that damage. I mean, it's repetitive and it's constant harassing. It's guaranteed damage. I mean, auto-attacking people when you're trying to farm is something that Kennan's definitely able to pull off more often than not. So I think a little bit of a missed trick out of 528. However, the fact that he's keeping up in CS, hasn't fallen down too far, definitely is good for his team.
In the meantime, we're going to check in with both the mid laners who are picking up their blue buff. Sealman as well as Fantix will head back into their lanes. Fantix picked up a nice and early Hex Drinker to try and mitigate some of the magic damage that will come out from this Ahri.
What I want to point out is, once again, Fantix obviously takes extended blue buff duration on his mid laner because he hasn't got the biscuits. On the other side of Summoner's Rift, Suman looks like he takes the biscuits because he's got a biscuit fish. That's how it works out. It's just one of those things that I like to track with the OPL mid laners. As I said, there's two trains of thoughts behind that one. And we've got one of each in this game.
Let's see how they pan out. We were able to get a look at that bottom lane earlier on, as the bottom lane outer turret's going to fall shortly if King and Destiny are able to keep up their pressure for the die wall. Same with the top lane, as Chippy is constantly harassing 528 underneath his turret.
I mean, 2 more waves, he's actually going to be able to take the turret. Maybe even looks like they want to set up a dive because CBLOL's heading up towards here.
Going to be able to jump over. 528 has to be very careful. They're closing in on it. The Cocoon's going to go down, gets the first stun. Chippy's going to go back in, but the ejection's going to come out from Poppy. CBLOL has to get back down to earth, and 528 defends his life.
I mean, it's still not a smart dive. I mean, it's just so easy to nullify what's going to go on there. And if, for example, Guts is waiting in the wing, even though they had vision of him in that time around, can just go pear-shaped a little bit too often for my liking, Fish. So they don't get punished for it too heavily. In fact, they're going to still be able to take that top lane turret, it looks like. But it's just an unnecessary risk that the Direwolves probably shouldn't be taking.
It does mean Chippy's is going to probably take down that turret first. Direwolves, actually all 3 parts of their map here, constantly pushing in against their opponent.
Yep.
Which is something that was spoken very highly of by Juice on the analyst desk there, how, you know, Direwolves, they might not have the best macro play, but their individual and laning mechanics are very strong. Yeah,
it certainly is, and I mean, that's coming through right now. They have won a lot of lanes. I still just think that their win conditions are a little bit more narrow than across the other side of the rift. You see 528. Still getting harassed out here. 1 more wave and that turret's gone, whether he recalls or not. So he'll just take the shot. You know, make sure if a team fight or a play happens bottom lane with Chippy's teleport, that he's able to respond at least with full health and a little bit more built up. But this has been a rough early game. I mean, credit to the Direwolves. They're up by about 3,000 gold and looks like they're just confident picking strong lanes and being able to go toe-to-toe.
Chippy's going to be able to pick up the first tower objective gold there on the top side of the map. Going to continue pushing up here as well. 110 CS to the 70 of the Poppy, and that coal is still ticking for the Cannon.
And I mean, he got all of that solo gold, so he's up an absolute quarter mile at the moment. I mean, the gold values in top lane isn't really even all that close, as now Fantix is being caught out.
Takes a little bit of damage from Sealman. Does have that Hex String available, but it's Tegan that gets locked down in the bottom lane. CBLOL makes a trip down as well, and they pick up another kill down there.
Yeah, sinks his teeth in. I mean, the wave will be closed now, so that's all right. And you can see 1,700 gold lead in the top lane. A little bit for the AD carries in the mid laners as well, but the primary amount is just going to be, I mean, Chippy's absolutely destroying 528 at this stage of the game.
Diver's looking to try and siege up their second turret here. Crazy and Guts left to try and defend this on their own. Teleport's coming in. Crazy's going to open it up with the curtain call. Guts looking to see if he can get in for an assassination on towards Destiny. King blocks off that final shot, and 5-8. It's just left hanging as he teleports down into the bottom lane.
I mean, teleporting to the turret isn't really going to do much because it's a 5-second channel now and they're just able to walk away. So you see, quite safe. He also now has to go back to the top lane. No teleport available for a respondent play that would come out of Chippies. So some miscommunication, maybe some desperation already coming out of Exile 5. I still think that, you know, if they just play this one a little bit slower, take their time, they'll scale up nicely. It just depends whether they give themselves the opportunities to, and, you know, burning teleport like that, definitely not going to be held in their stead.
Does save their bottom lane out of turret for a short while longer. They have fallen 3,000 gold behind across the board. Chippies is going to continue pushing up in the top lane. His cull has now been completed. And he's sitting on a recurve bow with a Vampiric Scepter, so he's going to be able to heal up quite nicely and continue to just shove this top lane as long as he wants to.
Yeah, and 5-8's boots purchases have absolutely blown my mind. I mean, one of the ways that top laners win lane against these harassant, you know, AD users is by picking up tabbies. He's gone, however, with Merc Treads, very scared of the CC that's available. I mean, I'm not sure I agree with him. Poppy doesn't normally fear CC all that much. However, continuing to farm up and try and get himself back in this lane.
Let's move down to the bottom lane again. Sybil making a return trip.
Everyone is actually. I mean, you can see that even Fantix is down there. Get some good damage onto Swimmin. Has the inside track. It means they just have to back away.
King's going to get a lot of the pressure alleviated from him in the bottom lane, allow him to get that last bit of damage he needed to take down the bottom lane outer turret. So Direwolf's already up. 2 turrets to none against Exile 5.
And I mean, they said they wanted to attack mid lane. However, Fantix is having an absolute field day, and now T-Gun's caught.
Completely out of position here. King is forced to flash away from the Kha'Zix. T-Gun will be the first to fall. And now teleport's coming in from the top lane as well. Good slow coming out from the traps of Jin.
Oh, he cancelled. That means they actually pinch it in here.
Sealman decides not to react to that one, so they do let Direwolves get out of that jungle.
Yeah, they were scared that the Cannon was going to push a little bit too quickly, so they just back away and leave the fight for another day. I actually think that might have been a window where they could have looked to punish. However, is not to be. And that consistent harass out of Chippies is just so annoying right now.
He's got a Blade of the Ruin King completed his spawn. He is well and truly on his way to being a beast of a carry. Sealman looks to try and pick up his blue buff, takes that one down with ease. We're going to head back into the mid lane. The final outer turret standing for Exile 5. They've got both carries here in the mid lane, trying to share up farm and just make sure that Fantix can't push this on his own.
Yeah, and I really don't, like, there wasn't a big thing that went wrong in the laning phase. It was just a solo kill up top. I mean, some good pressure applied out of Destiny and King down bottom. However, this lead for 15 minutes is absolutely insane. Chippies now might be in some trouble.
Gut's going to try and jump on top of the cannon. He's forced to flash away. Chippies goes in, and despite being exhausted, picks up a kill. Now he's going toe-to-toe against T-Gun and 5-8, and he's still not going down yet, Spot. Trying to chase on through. Critical will come out to try and defend their top laner. Destiny's here as well. The knockup stops one of the shots. 5-8's going to fall, and there are no more bullets left in Jin's revolver. Sealman will try and clean this one up. Still has 1 charge left on the ultimate as he chases down Chippies in the brush. Proto belt for the double kill.
Yeah, so Swimman's able to pick up a double kill there, but I mean, damage is already done. Chippies is down, Fantix is down in the bottom lane. King's in the mid lane. They're continuing to push up. It's an equal trade, but the priority they lose on the map for sending 5 members this early is just going to be so punishing. And Direwolves, they just look like they're in control. They're going to keep it at 1-3-1, and they're just going to continue to pull the map apart.
It's just an even trading kills there for Exile 5, and now they've fallen down to 6,000 gold behind the Wolves. As Guts now getting jumped on by Fantix. Fantix really wants this fight. Acceleration Gate Shock Blast combo is not going to connect. Guts will live to fight another day.
And you can see that Sybil shadowing his mid laner, as he's often want to do. They have elected to, you know, put the Ahri up into the lane with the cannon for now. It means that they'll open up the map for the Dragon for Direwolves, because really Ahri at this stage of the game is the only champion that has any form of power.
Ahri has been able to pick up those soft switch as well as an easy large rod on that last back. You see Chippy's picked up the Zeal as well in the top lane, going towards the Hurricane as Direwolves do pick up their first Dragon, which will be a Mountain Dragon here. Already a very devastating start for Exile 5 against Direwolves squad here.
I mean, it's really just been the tale of we are mechanically stronger than you and we're just going to continue to shove in advantages. Chippy's now with a red buff going to head into the RE lane.
It's spotted out by a ward and decides to take the safe route. Does not want to be bursted down by Suman.
Yeah, that's still smart. I mean, Schumann has double summoner spells available. Chippy's, of course, not running an Exhaust or Ignite because he's a top laner. Oh, that's dangerous.
He's going to get charmed out here by Schumann. Takes a lot of damage, pops the ultimate, but he tries to go toe-to-toe, and he's going to be able to do it! He gets the shutdown onto Schumann!
I mean, that's really greedy out of Schumann. Doesn't burn the flash to get out of the first tick of the ultimate, doesn't burn Ignite, doesn't burn Proto Belt. He just has so much left in his kit, didn't expect the damage to come out, and Chippy's outplays him. I mean, that's pretty much inexcusable. When you're the only Fed champion on the team, you need to be able to take plays like that and make it work. However, a further advantage now for the Direwolves as Chippy's only continues to get stronger.
With that Blade, the Ruin King is able to heal up back to full health in the top lane. Guts tried to move up there to get the assassination, but Wards did spot him out. Meanwhile, Fantix has been jumped on here in the bottom lane. 528 trying to do what he can against this Jace. Still going to take quite a bit of damage as well.
I mean, Jhin doesn't pop ulti. That was really nicely done out of Tegan. Actually got a black shield down on Destiny's ult. So it meant that that one didn't kick over, but they don't want to continue the fight. Now, Chippy's is just unrelenting, as he should be with his pressure right now.
Forces 2 members of XL5 to be sent up into this lane to deal with him.
I mean, Guts was there just cleaning up farm while he was pushing. Unfortunately, the mid laner was just respawning for XL5. But it's one of those things that, you know, the game has deteriorated so rapidly just because of a series of duels that XL5 had chosen to take and lost.
You see CS discrepancies across the board. 60 in favor of the Direwolves in the top lane, 40 in the mid lane, 30 in the bottom lane. But here he carries his Guts, gets caught out, wandering inside of his own jungle.
And I mean, Crazy's got his blue trinket available. They didn't check it with a bind or with the W out of Jhin. This just looks like an inexperienced team that's honestly getting torn apart. That's just a pretty basic Death Rush set up right there. And XL5 just a face check out of nowhere for no particular reason. So they're starting to really get punished by the experienced play out of Direwolves. And we keep going back to it. Direwolves macro play has been something that other teams have criticized quite often. However, if they're able to just get their fingers into a 1-3-1 this way and push up lanes, I mean, that's a pretty easy strategy to execute upon Dish.
It certainly is. They're executing it quite nicely in this match. Chippy is going to continue pushing up in the top lane. In fact, multiple members being sent into that lane. Jace is now the one who's going to be sent towards the top side of Summoner's Rift. Chippy should be rotated into the bottom lane as Baron's going to be spawning shortly.
Yeah, good spot on the priority. I mean, when you have Malzahar, you take Baron incredibly quickly. The Voidlink's just able to take up a lot of it. So they're willing to get, you know, the teleport user into the bottom lane, get him the favorable matchup one more time with 528, who was able to handily beat the start of the game. 528 building towards, you know, what looks to be a Spirit Visage to nullify some of the mixed damage that's coming out of the cannon.
As the rest of the Wolves are setting up towards the top side of map. Tegan's Black Shield is going to stop the ultimate coming out from Varus.
He's had a couple of really clutch Black Shields in the last couple of minutes.
Suman almost gets caught out there. Takes a lot of damage, but Guts is the one that gets slain by Fantix. As Sybil catches him wandering in his own jungle once again.
I mean, this is what a level 14 mid laner versus a level 11 jungler looks like right now. Not able to get anywhere near it. They've stretched more into a 4-1 now. And they're able to knock down another turret, 9,000 gold at only 21 minutes into this. And, you know, anything that looked like a lead for XL5, you know, the fact that their jungler was relatively even, the fact that their mid laner had 3 kills is just starting to slowly fall away behind what was an onslaught led by Chippies early in this game.
The Direwolves are now slowly starting to tear them apart. Crazy's going to pop the ultimate. Only gets a few shots on towards Fantix. He's going to get taken down. King snipes him off in the back lines. Suman now trying to run away. Does not get the assassination down onto the Direwolves. 80 carry. And they're just trying to do what they can to defend right now. It's not working.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, this is what it looks like when you send one member in first without a coordinated assault, because King was just by himself over the wall, able to take aim, fire exactly where he knew Crazy was. You know, Ari didn't go over the wall to challenge. Poppy was late into that team fight. So a little bit of uncoordination, and Direwolves with this lead are just unrelenting. We know that they're a great team when they have a lead. Fantix picks up another Shock Blast. And this game is all but over right now, Fish.
Now look at Vashuma, one by one. The Direwolves tear apart XL5. And they take turret after turret, increasing their gold lead to 12,000 gold up.
And I mean, this really hasn't come down to matchup priority or anything like that. This is just Direwolves flexing their muscle as a very strong mechanical team. You can see now taking what looks to be pretty early Baron. I mean, their members are starting to get low. Jin is on his way, as well as Kha'Zix. There's a chance here.
He's going to get exhausted, but immediately Guts is going to come in. He finds one kill. The Repel's going to come out from the Elise. Let's see what's going to happen here. Forced to flash over the wall. 528 here. They're going for it. He gets the smite. XL5 taken away from the Direwolves. Chippies, though, is in amongst it. He's going to be able to take down one. Guts is the next target. He can't find the kills. The double kill goes over towards Chippies, but XL5 take a Baron.
I mean, they're able to pick up a Baron. They're able to grab a kill for themselves as well onto King. And this should allow them to defend the base for a little bit longer. It was a risky call out of Direwolves, and coordinated enough effort out of Crazy and Guts to be able to pick up what was a pretty good counter attack.
And still, Direwolves, still 12,000 gold in the lead here, but that Baron buff should help XL5 out a little bit with stopping the pushes coming in from the Wolfpack.
Might allow them to pick up their first turret of the game as well in the mid lane. You see 3 members strong pushing in there. No real response yet out of the Direwolves. Only Destiny as a rogue.
Helps him out, pulls the gold lead back slightly as well, but slightly is all it does here, Spawn.
Let's take another look at that. I mean, Crazy does a good job of absorbing the exhaust and allowing Guts to go in. A little bit of miscommunication here because Guts wants to be able to pick up a kill. Probably should have been hitting the Baron the majority of that. 528 arrives in time. And it actually turned out pretty good for the Direwolves because Chippies is able to get a lot of return damage down onto Crazy and pick up a double kill onto Guts. If he hadn't been there in time, if the teleport had been seconds later, that could have been 2 or 3 kills going over to XL5. However, Direwolves, very coordinated unit at this stage of the game, doing a great job. That's a Flame Horizon out of Chippies, and he looks comfortable as anything.
Yeah. He's got his Frozen Mallet picked up as well in the top lane, building towards another recurve approach. That should be a Wit's End, I believe. He is a monster. There's no stopping this cannon at the moment. The rest of the Direwolves are grouped up towards the bottom side of the map, still allowing Chippies to split push in the top lane, despite his teleport being down. But Baron buff is still available for XL5. They've got a little bit of breathing room, but once that expires, there's not much they have to work with.
Yeah, there certainly isn't. However, we're still talking about a tankless composition here. So if one person gets picked off by, you know, say a Guts and a Schumann combo, it certainly is not out of this realm to be able to stall the game out for a little bit longer. I mean, the Baron buff really did buy them the reprieve that they were looking for. And they've been able to get that hard reset that's so hard against a snowballing team.
It's 5-8. Fancies the fight here against Chippies. Does have Schumann closing in behind, but the sneaky auto is a little bit too fast for them. Gets back to safety quite easily.
You can see that on the other side of the map, they're just playing the 4-1 so nicely. Fantix makes short work of this.
They lock down Tegan before he can use his Black Shield, and Fantix snipes him off. The Direwolves find another pick inside of XL5's base.
Yeah, I mean, that's just all the poke damage that can come out, and the fact that they had left an uneven amount of members to defend the bottom lane turret. T-Gun gets a little bit too close and is made pay.
Now Direwolves, they've got a pick. They're looking to try and make most use of that. Still pushing all 3 lanes up. 4 members. Sieging up the bottom lane inhibitor turret. Guts is forced to flash away.
Crazy.
They're going to be a lot of damage go down towards Guts, but Crazy's a sitting duck. No one from the Direwolves decides to capitalize on that, but King is still able to snipe off Kha'Zix in the back lines. The inhibitor is going to fall shortly as well as 5-8 tries to threaten this squad. Slams Fantix into the wall. The redemption is going to come out, but the shutdown comes out from Crazy to kick things off. The entire time, though, Chippies is just chipping away at turrets.
Yeah, he certainly is. He's able to pick up another one. They do, however, preserve the inhibitors. I think that was the right call. They should have been attacking that side of the map more frequently, just because Chippies didn't have his teleport available. They knew that because of the Baron and wasn't going to be able to get through the base as quick as what 5-8 can. Instead, they use the flash. They're able to pick up a kill onto Fantix. Much needed. And, you know, even though this game, it's slowly still just slipping further and further out of their reach, there's some promising sides now. They're at least playing their comp the way it was supposed to be played. And doing it against a 14,000 gold deficit will give them at least hope for Game 2.
Direwolves, in the meantime, have gone back to base, picked up a couple of items. Wit's End has been completed for Chippies. That is a terrorizing cannon up in the top lane.
I mean, he's just so rich right now. He's 140 CS up and has 5 kills. He's taken majority of the turrets by himself, so he's got solo gold off them. As far as gold goes, at 27 minutes into the game, he's 50 ahead of the Clockfish. He is a rich, rich man.
The rest of the team will pick up a couple of their items as well. Fantix and Kings, well and truly set to deal massive amounts of poke damage. Once they start to siege up towers, you can see Guts there almost being poked down to just about half his health. One arrow coming out from King.
But I just want to go back to it. I mean, tankless comps, when you're against someone like an Ari who's got 3 items, and Jin that's got 2, all you need is one person to get picked off and the team fight goes awry. So Direwolves doing the right thing right now. They're in their 1-3-1. They're setting up nicely around the map. But these are not easy comps to close out with, as we saw out of Legacy yesterday. I mean, this one's already ticked over to 28 minutes. Starts getting to, 38 minutes. King's been caught.
Yep, gonna get locked down here. Destiny soaks up a lot of the damage from the curtain call. He's the one that's in a bit of trouble as King gonna get jumped up by Guts. He's gonna get assassinated as now Destiny's the one that's in trouble. 5 away, gonna be able to get the knockup. The final attack comes out from Human as they jump on Sybil as well. One by one, the Direwolves are gonna fall, and suddenly XL5 fight back as they chase down Fantix, who's incredibly low on health.
Exactly right, and all of a sudden they flash in. They're gonna be able to pick up the kill, and that is a 4-for-1 trade if they're able to find Guts, which they don't. So it's a 4-for-0, and XL5 hit back. That was a 14,000 gold deficit, Fish. The Direwolves just lost a team fight on.
They find that catch that they were desperately looking for. That's what you've been harping on this game, Spawn. The tankless lineup just loses one, then they lose all. And now, XL5 looking to try and take some turrets. Still 12,000 gold behind, but at least showing they have the strength to fight back.
And I mean, when you're winning team fights from this far down, it kind of confuses what the lead is. You see that King got bound up there by a great T-Gun, fine, and then Destiny stepped in front. Good work from Guts to get over the top, and T-Gun's just peeling masterfully on the back line for his AD carry. It means that Sweeman's able to dash in, pick up another kill onto Sybil, and T-Gun's still just right next to his AD carry the whole time, making sure that Fantix can't get on top of him, making sure there's a way for 5-8. They jump in, pop the Edge of Night, and they're able to grab another kill there. I mean, tankless comps, if you get picked at the start, a 4v5 is still a 4v5.
They will still have a lot of gold to work with here. 11,000 gold in lead. Baron has respawned. Guts was able to steal that last one away. And for now, they're just setting up around the pit, making sure that XL5 don't have complete vision control over that side of the river. And someone almost knocks T-Gun into his death. He might have actually done just that. He's going to get locked down. King finds that pick. It just seems like he's the one who gets caught out so much here.
I mean, he's up clearing wards by himself. You're going to get caught out if that is what happens. Great amount of poke damage going onto the mid laner of XL5 there. They're just trying to shove in mid lane to get access to that Baron, but one more time, they don't have a tank. So being able to pick this one up, you have to use Spiderlings, you have to use the little Voidlings that come out of Destiny. They're going to be able to shred through it so quickly.
That is way too quick for the Direwolves, so they take down Baron with ease. King actually trying to chase on towards Guts as well. It's crazy to see if he can get an initiation started for his team. Human forced to use the ultimate to run away. Can't find the pick onto Fantix or Destiny.
That's really greedy, actually. Now he doesn't have the ultimate for the base defense because he was trying to get his blue buff. I mean, small decision-making lapses coming out of X5. This game, 31 minutes, has probably gone for as long as it had any right to. The Direwolves were crushing this through the laning phase. And, the inability to close out before 30 minutes definitely going to be playing on the mind of Coach Sharp. He would have liked this one to be a heck of a lot cleaner.
Codicor gets popped again here by Crazy. Doesn't get too much done with it.
But, I mean, who goes to King? Who goes, worse yet, who goes to Chippies right now and stops him from pushing in the bottom lane?
The Redemption, apparently.
Oof. That damage.
The rest of the Wolves, they've already taken down one inhibitor. Looking to see if they can take the second here. King is going to get some auto attacks down on top of that. Destiny's here as well. Still going to work on taking that down. 5 members now grouped up in the mid lane. Guts actually taking quite a bit of damage as Chippy's still just pushing on through. The Direwolves are looking to try and break the base here as the Nexus turrets are going to fall so quickly. XL5 just look completely lost here, and it's going to be 5-8 that's going to take the brunt of the damage. Shumik goes in. Chippy's is the first target, but he's just so strong, and they're going to be working onto the Nexus next. They do get a shutdown onto Chippy's, but it's too little too late as Direwolves, they're going to be able to pick up game 1 here against XL5.
So they do grab the victory in the end. However, 32 minutes, they would have liked it to be a little bit more clean. You see, not big grins on the face of the Direwolves. They had such a good laning phase. I mean, that game was probably ideal for the first 15 minutes. But as soon as it gets into the base, running these tankless comps are just so hard to deal with. You see, XL5, they're like, if our laning phase was not that poor, our composition would have carried us through. What can we do in our next game to really ensure that, you know, Chippies, Fantics aren't getting these 60, 70 creep score advantages by the 20-minute mark?
I mean, they had a great team fight towards the end there where they were able to take down 4 members of the Direwolves without losing a single member of their own. That's from a 14,000 goal deficit.
I mean, and when you have a look at that, that just comes down to the ease of execution. I mean, the Direwolves, they're stuck in their 1-3-1. It was really like a 3v5 that a 4th and a 5th member eventually joined from the Direwolves lineup. So they just to go back to it and be like, if we're not simultaneously pushing waves, we can't afford to get caught because we weren't even able to take anything in response. But that's a mistake that they won't make again. And XL5 really backs against the wall and need to step up in game 2.
Well, it is a best-of-3 series. Let's see if they can do just that. For now, though, let's send it back to the analyst desk to break down that game.
Thanks, guys. Direwolves there, not looking too happy with their win because it took a while. It was kind of a messy win as well, Juves.
It was a messy win. I think Direwolves wanted to answer some critics, and they didn't. They left it open for a little bit of more of a critique. Getting that lead they did early, like it should have just been like, see you later, like whitewash. But
see you later.
Yeah,
Right.
but no, instead, like they lost Baron. They team fought with a 4-1 comp. Yeah.
And it was quite disappointing because I expected them to actually finish off the back of that. And I mean, when you've got 2 Mountain Drakes and you've got such a sizable lead, all you have to do is just be that little bit more careful and you can whittle them down with this tankless compositions. But they didn't in the end, actually faltered a fair bit. X5 had a chance to get back in there. And it's actually quite good to see X5 actually fight back in that situation.
All right, well, let's bring up the draft so we can look at the pick bands. And in particular, I want to see this this Ari into Jace, or Jace into Ari. You were saying upstairs, Juves, that you didn't really agree with that.
I don't like the matchup. I think Jace can just control the matchup and get CS lead and become a lot more valuable than Ari. Like, the Hex Drinker buy is just so good. Like, it pretty much negates all kill pressure. But what Suleiman did really well, I think I'll just bring it up now, is that he knew he couldn't kill his lane, so instead he looked for river control, and he ended up killing CBLOL in the river. So I guess that's what the Ari picks for.
Yeah, and what I wanted to actually discuss with that Jace, if you actually take a look into how it was picked up or the way that they went about it, they flexed the Jace first. And that sort of suggests to you that they wanted to get the Ziggs. As soon as the Ziggs was banned, ended up them saying, you know what, we can get an on-hit cannon, shift that across anyway, that way we don't need to worry about, that way we can throw Jace in that mid lane instead of keeping him on top. So he actually gave a few more options and they just pivoted off the back of it.
Well, in our pre-game analysis, we were talking about how Direwolves had this strong laning phase, but maybe the macro game, maybe in objectives, they were perhaps not as strong. Let's take a look at this Baron throw from to kind of illustrate this. Mendrix, what's happening here?
So, Direwolves are feeling great at the moment. They've got the Mountain Drake. Everything's going good. They've got a sizable gold lead. They feel they can take the Baron. They can't. This is just something they should not have done unless they get a pick first. Yes, that's probably a good idea. And X5 immediately jump on this to capitalize. Direwolves do a great job of kiting back, but it's really them just going for an objective they didn't need to go for specifically at that point in time, and they ended up paying for it.
Juves, they went into that Baron fight there with really low health. I mean, what was the call there, do you think? Get inside the mind of the Direwolves here.
The call, I think, was questionable. Like, very questionable. So you've already got, like, this gold lead. You can literally just 4-1.
Yeah.
Kennen can auto-attack a tower all day. You don't even need Baron. So I think it was just them being overzealous or not knowing how to end the game.
Yeah.
And they just thought, like, we need Baron to end the game.
Yeah.
When you actually don't.
Absolutely overzealous there. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's continue on this narrative of macro play. Let's take a look at this team fight towards the end as well, because even though Direwolves did win the game, this is, I mean, Mendrix is pretty poor, right?
So, I mean, like, as you can see here, Chippy's just shouldn't be here. He should really be off on the side, split pushing as he normally does. As you can see, his ultimate doesn't really do anything. And X5 do a fantastic job of absolutely walking into the middle, so like rest of the team fight in great target priority. As you can see, they went straight into it immediately, take out King. Afterwards, they follow through with CBLOL, and just nice and easy for them to get a clean win off the back of it. And it's just, again, just put Chippy's in that side lane. He's so strong at that point. You don't need to group. I mean, you got a tankless composition. Just play to your strengths.
Yeah, Juice, if you don't have a tank in your comp, why are you taking those? Like, why are they taking these team fights?
So I think the 101 of League of Legends, tank, fight. No tank, don't fight. So if you don't have a tank, you just want to split push, execute your composition, and we saw what happens when you fight without a tank. You just get cleaned.
All right, well, speaking of Chippies, let us take a look at his stats throughout the game because he was a bit of a monster, Mendrix.
Oh, he was an absolute monster, especially when he was basically at a point where he could 3v1 in the late game if he needed to. And it was really great to see him actually at a certain point in the game. He managed to get almost a double kill, and he kind of could have played a little bit better if he just continued auto-attacking. That's simply what he needed to do there. But he did kite back, he did do it effectively, and he was just an absolute asset for the whole team.
I mean, but he was also, I think at one point he just straight up bought a frozen mallet, right? So he's walking around with a lot of gold there. So there are improvements to be made potentially in the rest of the series, right, Jubes?
Yes, I think just don't be greedy. The biggest thing, don't be greedy. End the game.
Yeah, that way it seems a bit more clean. You can be a bit more happy with it at the end of the day.
All right, well, XL5 obviously looking hungry in that first game. Dial was looking a bit sloppy. Do we think that XL5 can come back and take a game off these guys, given... Or is it, you know, there was a pretty big lead and this stays at a 2-0 to Direwolves?
Oh, well, I feel they can actually take a game off the back of that. And the reason for that is, if you look at how they ended up playing that initial laning phase, all they really need to do is make one adjustment. Don't give as much focus as soon. He's pretty much fine on his own. He can find the kills when he needs to. You send him towards the top lane. You shut down a split pusher, he is unable to do anything for the rest of the game. And that's their way of really beating the Direwolves, who decided to put so much emphasis on the laning phase.
Jubes, do you agree?
I think it's still a 2-0, but it was nice to watch X5 with a bit of heart come back. And
Just want a bit of variety on the desk there from Mendrix. All right, well, that is enough from us right now. We'll be back with Game 2 right after this.